there is a tragedy in being responsible for things. You'll see this a lot in life, right? You know, like one of the main responsibilities I got now, which I didn't even want to take upon, is having a job, right? I'm responsible for getting there on time. I'm responsible for making sure I'm doing the work right. It's like, I don't want to do that. But beyond having the choice to take on responsibility, sometimes you're forced to take on responsibility because you don't like having this responsibility. So now it's in your responsibility to get away from that. You know, it's your responsibility to take a step in whatever you perceive as the right direction. It's hard to do. It's like really hard to do. You know, like having a job isn't something people always like, hardly like, you know? I don't see a lot of representation. It's like, I see a lot of humor to mask away not liking like the situation you're living in. It's like, but it's like, oh, if I get a better job, nah, it's like you're just taking on more responsibility, you know? A lot of people give up dreams because they have responsibilities. People who have kids, you can't live selfishly anymore because you did something that is apparently selfless, but there's an argument for that being the most selfish thing you could do, you know, just to have a kid. And the most selfish thing you could do is to take care of that kid unconditionally and provide for them. Continue to provide for them even when they do things that you don't like, you know. You gotta uphold the values that you believe are right, because, you know, that's in the human mind to do, you know. Like, responsibilities seem like they can look good when you're looking at a picture, but in like a video, you'll see just how hard it is on that one person to hold on this much responsibility. It's like, how do I do it? When you don't like the things that are going around you and you're just responsible for yourself, it sucks that you have to be the one to do it, but you have to. That's what's so tragic about it. It's like, you don't have a choice in making a change. You have to make a change, or you gotta conform. You know, you gotta just shut up and do what they tell you to do, you know? And it's like, making that change isn't the easiest thing to do. It's not. You gotta be a really brave person to just say whatever, like, forget what everybody else is saying. Let me do this. Let me go and do that. You know, it's hard to do. It sounds so, like, abstract to ignore, like, the warnings people give you, because you're like, oh yeah, these are people I'm supposed to trust. These are people I'm supposed to, you know, acknowledge as, like, smarter or whatever. But, you know, it's like, at the end of the day, you're the only one living your life, so it's a matter of your own decision. Do you think you should take this step or do what you actually want to do instead of what your parents or whoever you love tells you to do, you know? That's why, like, from now on, I'm trying to avoid taking on responsibilities outside of myself, because I know that sounds selfish, and if it is what it is. You know, it's like, I'm gonna just be selfish. I'm not gonna mask it. I can't mask being selfish, man. It's like, you know, I'm very isolated. I don't have a lot of people holding me up, like mentally. Like, nobody's coming to me like, oh yeah, how are you really feeling? Are you okay? Because it's like, you know, everybody got their own issues to deal with, and I'm like, hey, whatever. I guess if that's what it is, that's what it is. I understand. I try and keep my mind clear through talking, you know. It's like, the most freeing thing to do is just talk. Even if I'm talking to myself, I'm just like letting it all out, you know. But it still doesn't feel like enough. It feels like it doesn't feel anywhere near enough to just talk about it. It's like doing something about it seems like something so much better, you know. Like, real change isn't easy. It's like you either change or you stay responsible for something else. And even though you change, you still have responsibility to continue changing, you know, until you're at the place where you want to be. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so weird to see people comfortable in the same place you are, but you're not. It's like, is there something wrong with me? You know? But now it's your responsibility to do something about that. You can't just stay in a place you don't like. Like, come on. Like, I'm scrolling through TikTok, I see people joking about how a job or like their commute to work is like the worst, and it's also like you have a 17-hour shift. It's like complaining. Like, I know, I hate that shit. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. That's why when people ask me, oh yeah, do you think I should work? I'm like, hey, bro. I be trying to warn them, like, if you wanna do all that work, do you have like a goal in mind? You know, because it's like I took on a responsibility without having a goal. I'm working for something and I don't know why I'm working. You know, I don't dream of being rich. I don't dream of having kids. I don't dream of, you know, buying real estate properties. I don't dream of a lot of things, you know, that aren't outside of myself. I dream of like chilling, you know what I'm saying? I like chilling. I like holding it down, you know what I'm saying? I don't like going outside of myself to you know, control things, you know, because I feel like there's a level of control involved in having kids. It's a level of control in having, well, obviously a level of responsibility you gotta take on with kids, level of responsibility you gotta take on with the house, you gotta take care of the house, you gotta pay for the house, and then it's like if you stop doing what you wanted, if you stop doing what you have to do, which is working a job, now you're losing the responsibility to have a house, and now you're homeless, and now it's like all this stuff because of people who made decisions before you were born that you have to do all this stuff. It's like, I know it's complicated, it's like all over the place, everything's all over the place, right? But also, I think the responsibility that happens when you take change is so much better than the one that you think you have to do. So that's why you make change before you take responsibility, and then you take responsibility in that change, which will probably give you a better result in this thing we call life, you know? I think that's nice. I think it's nice to do what you want, but that's hard too. It's hard to do what you want. It's easy to do what you're told, because when you do what you're told, it's simple. You have a structure, like what are you doing? You don't have to ask why, you're just doing it because they told you to. That's simple. But when you do what you want, you have to know what you want. You know what you want, you have to know how you do it. You gotta know what the goal is. You gotta know what it is that you're like hoping to do overall. Like, is this gonna help you, you know, like if you wanna get money, is this gonna help you get money? If you wanna be free, is this gonna help you be financially free? Because financially is a main issue in the world. Is this gonna help you like mentally resolve? Like, do you have issues that you're dealing with, trauma? You gotta take responsibility in that change, because nobody else is going to. Everybody's selfish, but nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to admit being selfish. It's just it's a thing that happens, man. Like, you know, like change isn't easy. It's just like, it's simple but hard to like take on. It's like you gotta be so selfish to make a change, and people are gonna look at you crazy for that, you know? People will look at you no matter what you do, because if you do what you're told and you don't do it right, they're gonna look at you. But if you don't do what you're told and do what you want and you do it right, they're still gonna look at you crazy because you disobeyed them or you went the opposite direction in which they were talking to you about. It's like, no matter what you do, someone's gonna look at you, and it's like, you have to stop thinking about what people are gonna think about you. When you make a change, just make the change. It doesn't matter if quitting your job is a hard thing to do. You just have to do it if that's what's gonna help you. It doesn't matter if selling half the stuff that you think you need to have in order to buy something that you actually need to do to make change, you know? You wanna buy a camera, start recording something, and you gotta sell fucking furniture, you sell that furniture, shit, you know what I'm saying? If you wanna buy like a house and you have actual goals in the system and stuff, then you gotta make sacrifices. You're responsible for making your own goals, make your own dreams reality, and nobody else's. That's super unfortunate, by the way. I'm not even saying that it's okay. It's just what it is. You know, it's not something I'm happy about, but it is like, maybe once I make that change, I'll be more okay with it, you know? Maybe I'll find comfort. Nah, actually, I don't want comfort. I want like happiness. You know what I'm saying? But responsibility is on me, and that's so tragic, but if it works out, it'll be beautiful. If it doesn't, I don't know, when life goes on, right? Yeah. But it's super hard to like, it's hard to do things that you want to do because you can be scared to make that change. You can be scared to take a stand against people who tell you to do otherwise. You know, it's like, it's not simple. It really isn't simple. There's so many different perspectives. It's like, you know, especially if you realize that change requires a change in responsibilities too late when you've already taken on so many responsibilities. It's like, damn, what do I do now? I have like 4 kids. I can't just drop everything and go and pursue this. You know, it's like, that's why I want to know what I want to change now before I even take on any type of responsibility. I have no dreams of taking on more responsibility unless it's in the interest of my change, you know? That sounds like I'm just talking. I don't know, it sounds like paradoxical, like I'm just saying things, you know? There's a level of tragedy to it, but I think there's also a level of clarity when you realize this stuff. Like, change also requires responsibility, and the responsibility that you take on and you don't want to take on, but you think you have to, that is super tragic. It's super tragic to do something that you don't want to do, you know? It is. A lot of things that help you with that is like humor, because if you can laugh about your situation, you think it's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? If you can see people who are doing better than you, you think that's like, I guess you think that's like, oh yeah, I can do it too if they can do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think comparing yourself to somebody else is like gonna help your situation, you know? But you can also keep it real and like, I might be stuck in this situation, but the best I can do is help this person, you know, and that's how it is. Sometimes it could just be too late for you to make a change, for you to take a chance in the right direction, you know, sometimes, literally. And the last thing you could really do to make it any better, just accept it. But if it's too late, I don't think it's ever too late, but it could be. That's not too late for me, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just drop it all. I'm gonna just accept that I have to make a change and accept the responsibility within that change and accept that it is my life and it is my responsibility now, because, you know, if you didn't think differently than how you were told to think, then now it's your responsibility, you know. But now if you didn't think any differently than you were told to, then you'll be okay. But if you do, you know how that works. You know how it works when people tell you to do things that you have to do and you don't actually have to do them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'll make a change. I'll be the person I think I want to be in life. I'll be better than who I am now and continue to get better, hopefully. Like, mentally, I don't want to, you know, I got no capitalistic dreams, but that's the thing. It's like, so be it. If I have to get money, then I'll get money, but not like forcing myself to do this and do that. It's like, no, I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity just so I can pretend to enjoy living like this, you know? People say I'd rather die than live like this. Such an extreme quote. I think rather than die, you have to change. I'd rather change than live like this. And if changing means you lose somebody who doesn't respect your change, you gotta say bye to that person. You gotta say bye, you know? Or you gotta talk with them, and if they can't see it your way, you gotta say bye. You gotta just, you know, extract this thing from your life. It's like, well, damn, I'm sorry, but this is how it's gonna be, you know? But that's my rant. That's my little yap about responsibility and how it can be so controlling and divisive. Like that's such a hard thing to get past, like responsibility. You know, what is it? With great power comes great responsibility. But it's like, with no power, you still have responsibility. So, you know what I'm saying? You still have responsibility to do something, I guess. I don't know. I'm struggling finding what I want to change. But when I find that, I'm gonna change it. But that's about it.